Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Over the past month, farmers in the Texas Panhandle have been bombarded by heavy rains and flooding. USDA says only 60% of the cotton in Texas is planted. That's 9 points behind average and 19 points slower than last year. Farm Journal's Tyne Morgan has been following the story, and Tyne, more flooding over the weekend in some of those areas. What kind of difficult decisions are farmers in those places having to make?
Well, Clinton, what farmers in the Texas Panhandle are experiencing right now is a first for many. They went from multiple years of devastating drought to historic flooding in some areas, and that means farmers in the Southern Plains have a new battle on their hands. The relentless rainfall means farmers aren't able to plant, and prevent plant discussions are now starting to occur. Wesley Spurlock is experiencing a year of firsts.
This amount of consecutive days of rain is not, it's been years since I probably experienced it.
This is what the area looked like only 2 months ago. Severe drought with concerns about even growing a crop this year.
From September to the end of April, we got less than a half an inch of moisture during that time frame. Since 26th, 27th, 28th of April to today, we're at 14 to 20 inches of rain.
In his area of the northern Texas Panhandle, the drought monitor has went from looking like this in late February to now abnormally dry and not even in drought. And that sudden switch means most of his acres aren't even planted yet.
We still have about 80% of our acres. We had about 2,500 to 3,000 acres of cotton we aimed on planting. And that cotton, the final planting date is May 31st.
That's why Spurlock and other area farmers are now forced to look at the possibility of prevent plant.
On our main farm, it's never been an option. I mean, we've never had a problem getting there. We've known we can always plant. We can always get to that point.
He says prevent plant doesn't pencil there, so they're looking at trying to plant more corn or sorghum for silage this year. But according to USDA meteorologist Brad Rippey, more rain is still on the way.
You know, the signal of a wetter southern Great Plains is consistent with El Nino, but this is not due to El Nino.
Rippey says El Nino hasn't officially formed yet, even though the signs are screaming that it's still on the way for a mid to late summer arrival.
We haven't seen that teleconnection, that connection between the warm ocean in the eastern Pacific and the atmosphere across North America yet. And that's the hallmark of El Nino. We expect that to develop later this year.
And he says that could mean additional wet weather for the southern tier of states, including the Southern Plains. As for Spurlock, he's not giving up yet.
We've taken every planter that we had in the barn out. We've rebuilt them. We've fixed all the precision on them. And so we've got about 260 foot of planters sitting on tractors at the moment.
And Clinton, it's not just planting that's a problem. Spurlock says he has about 3,000 acres of wheat contracted with local dairies to harvest for wheatledge. But considering how wet the fields are, harvest equipment would just tear up those fields right now. And so now he's having to weigh the decision. Does he buy back those contracted acres? Reporting for Ag Day, I'm Tyne Morgan.